How's it going, everyone? Hopefully, you're doing well, and this week has been good to you. And we're coming at you with another stream. So, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're at. And I hope, that just everything's just going just fine. All right. So, what is up for today's stream? Today we are doing more Elixir Phoenix stuff. We're going to continue working on the project that I have been doing. Oh, the stream closed captioner rewrite. That's what's going on. So, let's go ahead and switch things over. Uh That's weird. It's capturing the raw display. Let me see. We go back over here, and we're good. All right. So today's theme. So what are our tasks? Well, let's see. So working. So we're gonna be today. We're gonna be working on mocks, test mocks, and UI if we can get to it. So let me go ahead and set what is in progress. So today's task in progress. There we go. Yeah, so we're working on the client publishing flow, but we're also working to mock API, the API client layer for testing. That's one thing need to do and currently in the progress of doing. So let me go ahead and copy that and let's put that in our note. Mention in page, link to page. There we go. Whoa. So, so I have been putting off writing tests for the layer that interfaces with the various Twitch APIs. Endpoints. That's because I need to figure out how to effectively mock things in Elixir. I now know what to do. So that's what my focus will be on for the start of today. Cool. One other thing we can do is let's get some music. Let's get some gaming music in the background. And I need adjust my loop back. Let's do a little bit like that. Okay. Well, that terminal open just in case. So what I've been doing is trying to create some mocks for some for testing. Um, uh, a popular library to mock out logic is called mocks to help us mock out our external dependencies. Uh, that took a while to apply. Disable hex docs. So what I've been wondering how to properly, because um so mocks requires you to make explicit contracts with your providers, with your API clients. So I was kind of struggling on how to structure this because we need to create a module that defines our behavior of what we're looking the functions we're looking to do. And I was not sure how to do that because I didn't want to just define the callbacks straight inside of our Elixir module that has the different API endpoint implementations. So I was struggling with that. But I stumbled across an article in my quest for researching that gave me kind of a good guiding light. So this is similar. So this is an article from Thoughtbot with a web service that goes and makes a request to a web service. And they go into detail about trying to mock it, mocking the HTTP, mocking directly HTTP poison. But that kind of muddies the water because we have an explicit dependency on HTTP poison. So if we were to swap out our library that we use for doing requests, our tests are going to break. So it leads to some tight coupling on the test, knowing exactly what we're doing. It covers a strategy of dependency injection for the client. But the interesting thing was talking about implementation of behaviors. And I saw how they defined the behavior module. And they defined it as the web service provider. And then our web service implements the web service provider behavior. And then we go along our merry way. So I was like, oh, okay. This is how we can do this. And we can leverage mocks. And then we can leverage mocks to get us the rest of the way there because mocks requires an explicit contract. So by defining a module that is our behavior module separately, we get this nice separation of the behavior and the provider, and then the actual implementation. So that's what I did, started doing, and I did that for the extension or the extension API layer for Twitch, and I implemented an extension provider. So basically, what I did is I had a bunch of app specs already existing for the various functions functions, and I just copied and pasted them, tweaked them just a little bit, and defined them as callbacks. And after that, I apply that extension provider as my behavior and say that each one of these functions implements the extension provider. So that is very cool. So I feel good about that. So now if I were to, so now I need to continue setting up these providers for the various layers for the API. So I've already created one for the extension, and we also have API functions for the Helix portion namespace of the Twitch API that I want to now do the same thing for. So right now we currently have get streams. This one's pretty minimal. There's only two in here. There's get transactions and get streams right now. I think that I'll expanding on this later. And we already have these specs defined of like what we expect to get coming in and going out. So one thing I'm going to tweak here that I've been doing is I've defined my structs having a type. So what I'm going to do here is just say that we're implementing the credentials type like that, just to be cleaner. Instead of like saying the credentials and then saying what the individual items in our credential struct the types are, then I can just do this because I went ahead and defined all my structs and their typings. So missing that there, and there we go. Now we got this clean back with the data we get back. All right. So what I want to do next is I'm going to create a Helix provider. Underscore. Oops. Provider. So we're just doing a straight copy and paste because it's just going to make things easier. Do that. So Helix provider, provider. We don't need helpers. We will need some aliases for some of the stuff for the signatures. So all we're doing is we're not implementing the functions, we're just defining the callbacks. That's going to return back the data we need. And what is misplaced operator? I am not sure what it means by that. we have this aliased, so I can get rid of this. There's an extra. No, that's fine. That's fine. We're not out of balance. Operator is to be used for bit strings. Weird. Why does it think that this is not a return type? Let me. This is confusing me very much. But yeah, did I edit the wrong file anyway? I think I did. Thought I had my Helix provider open, but no, I didn't. Get rid of that. Get rid of this method here. Get rid of this method here. Callback. Callback. We can reference the credentials directly. We have that alias like we were trying to do before. Excellent. Now our Helix. Yeah, and then we have to move this out because this is now. Oh no, actually, this makes sense. We're siblings. So now what we say is we have a behavior and we implement Twitch Helix provider app behavior. It's macro. Let's alias this because we're going to be typing out Twitch Helix provider a lot. And then we have to spell it with a U. Let's get rid of these specs for now. And we're going to say that this implements the Helix provider. So these two functions implement the Helix provider. So now that's set up. So now we have this contract that our Helix provider defines what our function takes in and spits out, and we implement that relations to that. And we're taking in credentials, user IDs, cursor, and then spitting out a list of streams. And the same thing happens here. We get the credentials. For the get transactions, we get credentials, and we spit out transactions. We might need to mock this one. Well, this one's just signing our tokens. This should fine to do. Well, we'll cross that bridge if we come across any issues. Okay. So now, let's get to our test that uses said functions. So we go to, so the area of the code that we're doing stuff in is the captions pipeline. This is the piping to go to Twitch. We fetch a user, we We do the captions. We format our captions payload. We merge in. We try to censor the information, and then we decide. We try to pass it through translations. Because we're passing through translations, we're gonna have to do the exact same thing we did for the Azure API to either to mock out the response for Azure. So let's go ahead and do that next. Services, Azure. So we already have typing set for this. That's good. Good. So all we have to do, luckily this is easy. I think this is just one single function. So let's go ahead and just duplicate it and open that up. And now let's rename that to the provider. And provider. And then start getting rid of stuff. We don't need the function. And callback. So it takes in a string, a list of strings, and then another string. From language to languages, and then it outputs the actual translation. That's what's going on. So now we say we're going to be implementing our behavior, and our behavior is the Azure Cognitive provider. I won't alias this one because we're only doing this once. Implement Azure Cognitive provider. Like that. Very nice. Okay. We got that in place. Now let's get back to analyzing our flow for our logic. So what was going on here? So we do that. We try to get translations, and then we send it over via PubSub, and it's either successful or it's not. And that's that. You have a couple other parts of it that are involved, but we're all good for the most part. And I'm trying to pause and think about how, if and when we need to refactor, if we need to clean this up a bit. maybe translate as this. Um, does this. Get translations. Trying to see. Because part of this feels clunky to me. So I'm trying to see if there's an opportunity to clean this up. I guess let's just write the test and then I can figure about cleaning it up. How about that? Okay. So let's see. Let's try to go to. You have anything for opening our tests? No. Thought I had like a little plugin for running tests, but maybe. Well, I redid my containers, so maybe that's why. Mix test interactive, I think, is our interactive test runner watcher. We have a bunch of unused alias warnings that I'll have to clean up later on. Captions, pipeline. Do I not have a test for this file yet? I do not have a test for this. And I'm also noticing that these tests aren't set to run in parallel, asynchronously. Case. Do following test case interact with the enable SQL sandbox? Chronic maths debater. Which VS Code theme is that? This is the synthwave VS Code theme. The only thing it doesn't, I do not have, the thing I don't have enabled on here is synthwave 84. So I don't have the glowing text enabled, but there it is right there. So synthwave 84 is, let's see, if I copy this, there you go. Yeah, so that's the one thing I don't have, and then I have this custom color on the side too. If you want to give it a go ahead and install it and have some fun with it. All right. So, what was I? Oh, yeah. I was being distracted because async true. So, fine. So, this module define function to use helper. If the test case interacts with database, we enable SQL sandbox. So, data they're done in the database reverted to the time. If you're using PostgreSQL, you can run the database in asynchronous mode. So, async true. So, that's what we want to do. Though this option is not right. Although this option is not recommended for other databases. So let's go ahead and throw in async true on this bad boy. So we can get faster test executions. I believe I went through a lot of these tests under other situations, so let's just make sure that we're setting async true for as many tests as possible. I think I set those fine. That's fine. None of these, I think, are async true. So another distraction as I squirrel through this. Async true. Async true. Async true. Async true. There, that should actually speed up our test by a lot. Page live view, that. That one. Cool. All right. Table that one for now. That one out of the way. That's our actual file. Mix.test interactive. Yes. Oops. All right. Well, I'm glad I caught that because that's just going to make our tests go even faster. Yeah. They're thumbing. We do have some failures. So we'll have to take a look at this. We have 8 failures. Looks like the test watcher is okay. So let's take a look at this. So what is wrong with this test? Oh, these are wrong. These are failing because of our changes to the UI. I changed the whole I changed off stream while I was watching TV on the couch and stuff like that. I went through and I updated. I started working on some UI updates for the site. So we do have some test failures because it's expecting the website to look different. To look just a little bit different. The user settings edit view is now just account settings in an H1. H1. Yeah, this is looking like explicitly for a certain type of tag. H1 is doing a regex match. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Let's go ahead and check our. Usually with the code spaces, it takes just a little bit for it to port forward to port 4000. It'll get there though. It'll get there. So now we're down to 5 failures. Excellent. So now we're on to the user sessions controller, and user sessions is looking for user login. So for this one, after you log in, user logs the user in. So when a user logs in, they get directed to the dashboard page. So what we can look for is just look for the dashboard, I guess. Okay, let's look for our dashboard. Taking a while for the site to load in the CSS, so it's kind of going unresponsive right now. So it didn't find dashboard. What else could we look for on this page? So we have a lot of stuff in here. We can see all these regex, man, like all this content in here. We have SVGs. Sign in with your Twitch account. So you which test is this one? That just failed. Logs the user in. Redirected to. So this failed on line 39, which is this one. How about we look for settings? Let's adjust. So what this is looking for is it's looking for information on the main page because we went to the dashboard. What we can look for is just string closed captioner. Let's look for just captioner. And this is an H1. User registration. Clicking the home page. Whoops. Nope. Oh, my computer is being surprisingly sluggish today. All right. Let's get rid of these assertions. Down to 3 test failures. Let's have this only run on the failing tests. This one's failing for put. So cannot render edit HTML. Oh, because stream settings is no longer a standard controller. I believe I completely nuked the stream settings controller because I moved that over to a live view. So this set of tests are no longer valid. Run all tests. Nice. All right. That gets us back on track for our other tests that I was trying to come up with. So now I need to create a test for our captions pipeline test. Captions. Whoa. Not edit a file. Want to create a new file. Captions. Pipeline. Underscore. S. E. X. S. The module captions test to end. Want to make sure I get this just right, so we do that. We're probably going to have to import in our factory and our data case. And we're describing here the captions pipeline. What song is this? This sounds super familiar. That's what I thought. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic always had good music. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-da. All right, test. What we need is, so what we're going to test first is that successfully sends plain string regular word. To Twitch. We're just doing a regular test that successfully sends a word to Twitch. Let me go ahead and alias string closed capture Phoenix captions pipeline and pipeline 2. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So pipeline 2 Twitch. And we're going to need a user. So we need to create or insert, not create, it's insert in Elixir, or for this library in Elixir, insert user. So that is our user. And we need to give it a message. I believe a message has a very specific structure to it. It is it's a map Trying to think how we go about interim. No, that's not going to do it. Let's find out. What I can do is that as a type spec. Let's do it that way. It's going to have interim. And it's as JSON, so it's of this structure. Interim. Final. Session. And I'll have some more information later. We can't do it that way. I'll do it like this for now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a Googleizer search for Elixir. Atom. Oh. Interesting. So then let's see how this works out in the end. Oh, is that how you do it? Right here? Elixir is already figured out for me. Or dialyzer, I guess. This would be session. And this would be the message map. Like that. What this ends up returning back the pipeline to Twitch. Let me see something here. So captions payload contains interim, final, delay translations. This ends up being an okay with our captions payload type. What's key value pairs must are pairs instruct. So these are these special properties on Elixir types. Elixir uh, at trying to see if I can pull up the typing type specs. Any, none, atom, map, part, reference, tuple, float, non-negative integer, negative integer, non-negative, positive integer, list, maybe improper list. Interesting. So where's the helpers for optional literals? Following the literals are supported in type spec. Bit strings, anonymous functions, arities, integers, lists of a type, key value, a list with keyword lists, key type, required key type, and then the key type's an atom. So all of these are required. This is weird. Don't want that there. There we go. There we go. Cool. Captions, pipeline. Am I editing the wrong file again? No, I'm not. So the tests are failing because we have a syntax error right here. So we're doing captions to user. And then what I need to do here is pass in interim. Hello. And final. Blank. Session. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to failing test. Let me reinitialize test. Captions pipeline. Captions pipeline. Captions pipeline. Let's see here. So we have an error. Compilation error on line 1. Error pipeline undefined function module. Yes. Def module. Not module, but def module. Tasty water. All right. One failure. What is our failure? Following arguments were given. Profanity may be censor. Hello and nil. We need to switch this to make sure to switch this all to JSON syntax. The JSON mapping syntax. And then we'll scope this test to only run the captions pipeline test instead of running everything. Let's do that now. So run only matching a specific pattern. I didn't specify that pattern. I just said P and I didn't say anything. So now I'm curious to know what's going to happen. Runs everything. Oh, man. All right. Come on. Come on. Show more. Pattern. No matching tests found. Let's try the pattern of captions underscore pipe. Is it looking for the file? Okay, good. All test files matching the pattern. Yeah, okay. I was wondering if I was trying to see if it was going to match against the module, but it's matching against the file. All right, so we do have a failure coming in, and it might be a legitimate failure. So we don't have a matching nil. I think that looks like that might just be a test setups thing. So what I need to do here is stream settings. Build stream. So I need to associate a stream settings with with our user, I believe. Stream set Settings. All right, let's see what happened now. Cannot change belongs to association user because there's already a change. It's foreign key user ID to 579. Interesting. I know I was trying to figure this out for something else because I came across the same issue. Let me look into this. I think it was this. So insert pair, stream settings, user. Let's go the other way around. Let's do insert pair. And then what this did was it was an anonymous function that went and executed the build. So let's create an anonymous function that goes and executes the build for our stream settings for our user. Looks like it's the same issue. We can do the inverse of this then, since I've already kind of done this. Nil balance 0. Okay. So there's a couple things that need to be constructed for this. So what we're using for our mocking is ex machina. So I have a complex, somewhat complex thing going on. Featured article factory, comment factory, building an article. Let's look up at our factories so we can take a look at our user factory. Our user, we're building the baseline stuff in here. It returns an inserted comment, only works with ex machina. The delay evaluation attributes account. So build function calls such as this gets evaluated immediately. So this code is equivalent to build a user, insert, and then doing that. Okay. Sometimes that presents a problem considering the following factory or user factory, this email that you want to build a separate user per account, then calling the insert pair user, build a user will not give that. So it dynamically builds a user. Full control factory. On map. I think splitting factors into separate files. So Xmarket will automatically save any associations when you call any of the insert functions. This includes belongs to and anything that is inserted by Ecto when using repo inserts, such as has many, has one, and embeds. Since we automatically save these records for you, we advise that factory definitions only use build when declaring associations like so. So I try to remember why I didn't include those associations in my factory. I'm pretty sure I was encountering some errors, but let's just go ahead. I mean, a user should always have stream settings anyway. I'm pretty sure this is going to break a test. But that's fine. So we need to create stream settings, and we also need to create a bits balance table record. Let's go and look into this real quick. Our association for our user. And yeah, bits balance. There's a couple other associations but those two are basically the required ones. So I should be able here to go back to just having a plain old user. Let's see what happens. Now we're stuck in this cyclical cycle, I believe, because a stream settings builds a user and a user builds a stream settings. Let's see. And oh, now we're hanging. Okay. This is going to require some test updates elsewhere, but all right, let's get rid of that. Bits balance debit factory. Let's do that. Transaction factory. Yeah, this is going to break a number of tests. I can already feel it. Can already feel it. Yep. Because some of the tests were leveraging the fact that the user is created for us automatically for some of those factories. But now that we eliminated that, those tests are not happy. But what I'll do for now is let's just focus on the captions pipeline, and then we can fix our data test flow. Question mark, pattern, captions, pipeline. All right. All right, so we got a different error. So we're getting a failure now because we're trying to do an API request to Azure. We don't want to do that. We want to now use our mock. So let's go and hop over to our mocks library so we can actually use it now. So in practice, you'll have to ensure that during tests, the code you're testing uses the mock rather than the implementation. If the system under test relies on application configuration, you should test it before the test suite starts so you can use async true. You can do this in your config files or in your test helper. All right. So all we have to do is define this in our test helper. And it's going to be Azure mock cognitive. Well, let's like for Azure cognitive. All right. That's step one. Next is to actually, oh wait, we need to point this to not to cognitive itself, but the provider. Now we import mocks into our testaroni. Make sure mocks are verified when the test exits. And then we set up our mock. And then this would be mock cognitive. And we expect that translate to be called with 3 arguments. Expect the name in the mock. So it's language. From language to languages. And the last one being the text. Let's set the balance to 0 starting off for the bits balance factory, by the way. This returns back translations, but I'm going to leave this nil for now. Module mock cognitive is not available. You want to mock the weather behavior during test. The first step is to define the mock with def mock. On your tests, you can define the expectation. You might have to restart our tests. Let's try to see if I can scope running this. Yeah, cool. So I guess I have to create my mock weather API. That just does the thing with the code. Let's do this. Let me look at that Thoughtbot article. For inspiration. So in here, we're going to have the Azure well, at least I'm liking that I'm learning all this stuff though. A little bit tedious. Cognitive mock cognitive .ex def. I'll just paste this in. The def module, Azure, mock cognitive, like that. And we're aliasing cognitive or Azure cognitive provider, where we're actually implementing the cognitive provider here. In our situation, our cognitive provider, this, translate, translate, same method signature. The only difference is that it returns back a translations. So I write a test and define our expect and verify that the verify on exit. I wonder if we even need behavior cognitive provider. So now we actually have our Azure mock cognitive. Mock cognitive. Okay. Restart the test runner and see it's able to find it. Module mock cognitive is not found in our test. Ah. Yes, 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 yes. Ah. Now the question is, do I actually need to do that? Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Maybe I don't need to define a separate module. That simplifies things so much. Yeah, buddy. Here. Go ahead and delete that. Because if we don't need mocks, we don't need mocks. I'm all about that. I'm all about that business. Yes. Okay. All right. So now we're coming across another issue in our test setup is our JWT. So our JWT is trying to fetch credentials from our environment. And we don't have those yet. So what we need to do is set up test our configuration for our test environment to have those sorts of secrets in place. So let me go ahead and quickly switch screens just in case I accidentally leak something, but I don't think I should because everything has been has put into secrets and such and such. System. So this in our thing, we're trying to get environment variables in the system. All right, so we're good. We're not showing anything secret, super secret. Let's look this up. Elixir. Fresh, fresh, tasty water. Did I already look at this one? I think I did. All right, let's go to this one again that I skimmed through using mocks in our tests. So in our Elixir project config, da 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 da. These are generally used in frameworks and libraries, but they've already known, proven useful in mocks and that. Do, do, do. That should be Final Fantasy VII? Mana's Tale. Mana's Tale. So Secret of Mana, maybe? Okay. Whatever. Yeah, so we're expecting environment variables directly out of the system. And it's airing out because It's expecting a string when it decodes. Question is, can we just do this? But it was invoked 0 times. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I kept that in there. I made a tweak to the test such that we don't invoke this um, right away. Results. All right. So coming back. Okay. So now we actually have to have a test for our little pipeline here. We actually have a functioning test. What? So yeah. So if it's successful, it should return back an okay. With the caption payload stuff. Well, the problem, so that's what happens when it's successful. The problem is that this should have never succeeded in the first place. Actually, I was expecting that the pub sub message should have aired out. Yeah. The call to send, so maybe translate doesn't do anything. And then we send the payload back. Problem is this should have failed. Sending a message should have bombed out. That is the problem with this test. Then pub sub message 4. It should have tried to do a request, and this request should have failed. I don't understand why it didn't fail, because we just gave it garbage. This post is supposed to return back a HTTP okay or error response. So it's either going to return back okay or it's going to say error. And that's what we return back through coming from here. So then when we get to our actual thing here, we should have received that error. That's our problem here. That's our problem, folks. So why? Did this succeed? Yeah, you can see message sent successfully. Like I have an explicit logging right there. That should have never worked. I need to check. Let's check the docs. Because maybe if the message dev.twitch, maybe if it does, maybe if it sends it and it fails, it still returns back at 200. It's weirding me out. Weirding me out. References. Messages. Send a pub sub message. The response back, which is a status code of 204. Hmm. Hmm. We might need to match on the status code for this then. If we get a response back, it might not be enough. Let's see what happens if we switch it. So this should fail because it's no longer matching properly. So there's a status code of 400. So I might be just confused on the conditions in which post for HG poison. I think I'm just confused on exactly how HG poison, when it throws an error and when it doesn't throw an error. Let's see. So there we go. That's what I have to do then. Learn something new. It doesn't explicitly throw an error. Got a pattern match. Learn something new every day. So we got a pattern match on the status code of 204. And then we don't care. Do 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 do. I guess we should match on the error condition too. So if response status code is 400, we get the body. Let's just return back an error tuple. So the request was rejected. And then this one. So then we just have the regular error. Which is this one. Let's match on exactly this. Tuple. Reason. This is going to violate the... Do we have a contract on this one? We don't, but we should. Message. So we get back. The response either contains an okay with the payload or an error with some string type thing. What the problem is. There we go. Let's go ahead and update this test. Oh, well, it suddenly sends a regular sentence. So we're going to have to mock out the... So let me go ahead and take this and put this up here. Because we're gonna keep this in our pocket for when we're testing that a user actually has the necessary requirements to turn on translations and asserting that the mock cognitive translation gets called, all that type of good stuff. So now for this test, it should fail because we got an error coming back. Bad request. Status 400. No client ID. So we got back an error and we get a body, and our body what we'll do here. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. We'll just leave it like that. All right. Now let's actually make this test pass. What we need to do is I need to create another mock within the test helper. Like closing all these other files that are open. So we're going to do another mock, and we need to do a mock for Twitch, the extension provider behavior, and mock extension. Over here, let's uncomment this out, and Twitch mock extension. Oh, Twitch mock extension. And the function we are calling is send pub sub. Or I guess it's more accurately the send message for. That guy right there. And we expect to get, it's a 2-argument method where it is message like that. And what this is just going to return back is an okay with message response. A message response of okay. Unknown a function, send pub sub for message for which mock extension. Really? Right there. String. There's a third argument. There is a third argument. The payload. Interesting. The send pub sub message for takes in the JWT, the secret, the credentials, channel ID, message. And for whatever reason, it is not mocking it. It's still doing the API request. So we're extending the Twitch extension provider. The Twitch extension provider as our send pun sub message for. And then we define a corresponding Twitch mock extension to try to mock that out. Then in our test, we write an expectation that our Twitch mock extension expected to receive send sub message for penalty credentials message, and we return back an okay HTTP. But it is not, I repeat, not working. Q Choya, what's up? Nothing much. Working on test mocking and all the excitement that brings in. Figuring it out, getting used to it, all that type of stuff. And also just scratching my head. How about you? How are you? All right, so in this example here, we can see the def mock. We can see that they mocked out the weather API, and they established that they're with these expectations and returning back something. Do you also program API bots for other games? I've never actually programmed any bots for games before. I've done a little bit of dabbling with Twitch bots just in general, but not for video game integration and stuff like that. I have not. And do you have a question regarding that though? Da ba 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 ba. Do, 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 do. Do 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 do. Down, I'm looking for somebody who's good, who good, a good experience on the game Diablo, a program code API bot which is connected to Discord to send messages. Oh, interesting. Type deep deep IO. What game is that? So is it just like a top, like a fun little top down shooter game? It could be all my um let's see. Let's trust the site, see if that fixes it. All right, well, for whatever reason it doesn't want to work for me. We'll just shrug. There are many people who decoded a bot API to see the leaderboard on Discord. Oh, I see. Yeah, Discord, a Discord bot. There are you do you know how to program, or are you looking for a programmer to do it for you because you want to add it to your Discord server out of curiosity? Ba, 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 da, da, da. Mm-hmm. I only know how to create Discord bot and invite it to a server, but I don't know how to start the bot with with coding. Oh yeah, yeah. If you're not familiar with the coding aspect of it, that's gonna make things significantly more difficult, especially with trying to integrate with the game to look to fetch the information. Could you just borrow the bot that other people made for the game? I would imagine that I would hope that the people that created the bot would love for other people to use it too on their Discord servers and stuff like that. So you don't have to code your own. I mean, usually developers are happy to expand on it or whatever, to share the knowledge or the tooling or whatever it is. I'm not sure if that's an option, but that's worth finding out about. So it's trying to sign the token. Signing the token doesn't do any external request. That's that's fine. It's this send. It's a send message to send pub sub message for. is where things are just going absolutely wrong. I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna do an empty string. Now in that game, everybody does share their boss. They are very toxic. For that game, there are different clans, etc., that hunt high score people because the game is based to get a possibly very high score. Hunters are looking with the API bot for high score leaders, and they want to share their created bot. Oh, interesting. Let's do a little investigating here. I never played the game, not sure what's available, but let's do a little investigating here. Let's see if there's any any results looking for the game and a bot. Well, I'm looking if you're looking for it to integrate with the owner is now read only. Yeah, if you're looking for it to integrate with Discord, I'm just curious to see what people have. So someone made a bot or not a bot. So example following is going to connect to a bot to party link. Yeah. So here's a little snippet of code to connect to one of the I assume one of the rooms. You don't got any experience. Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, and this person, yeah, looks like, yeah. I was trying to see if I can find some sort of solution for you to use, but I do not see one. Not without you having to learn how to code, which you don't got the time. Have a good Discord server created. See. Nope. Nope. Yeah. I would imagine someone in your Discord server knows. I mean, if you haven't asked, someone in your Discord server might know how to code and might be down to try to figure out how to create a bot, a Discord bot to connect to the servers and send data. Because this guy, he created this nice library. But I won't be able to help. I have a lot on my plate, but it looks like there might be some resources you can use out there. That's for sure. Or to talk to people. Or to talk to people about it. They don't know themselves. Yeah. Okay. That sucks. The npmjs.org. Just one last little investigation just to see. In Japanese. Yeah, not much over here for. Yep. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's anything simple and easy for you to use other than this project that this person made. That we don't know why they decided to archive it, but this this set of code and the documentation, if it still worked, could you could figure out how to get information like achievement, latency, leaderboard right there. So there is a way to fetch the leaderboard, and then you would have to send that to Discord. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, couldn't be much more help for you. Now back to the other thing we're head scratching about, and that is our test for this mock and why it refuses to work. Usually your test helper. Do you actually know how that works with Deep? Like it's also kind of an API. It looks like there's like documentation for it of how to connect to Deep. 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 That's okay. That's that's a type of tank. I don't see any documentation for it, so I couldn't I couldn't answer the question about the API itself. Fortunately, not without digging in like super deep. Let's look at someone's example about using mocks, because I need to see this some more just to make sure I'm doing this right. Why does the page keep moving? Thank you. Thank you for stopping. From Kazga, there are coding files to download. It actually needs work. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have I don't have a clue where what it takes. Well, for taking the API as an API client, and we want to write tests. Areas of the code that use API client, so we need to be able to bind mocks for this module to make sure our module. So this is our application and response, header stuff. We define our behavior. I like this too. API client behavior. Instead of provider, just say straight up behavior. Implements the behavior that our mock client module implements behavior. Mocks can use can use that behavior to create a mock. Telling mocks to define the mock for a given behavior is pretty straightforward. We define our mock, does support mocks, access. No, in order for test mocks file to be compiled by your application, you need to add the following thing. Yeah, I can't help. I'm sorry. Like outside of like just looking at the stuff to see if there's any tooling for you to use, I can't help. I really can't help too much with it other than to look things up because I don't know the game, I don't know the API or anything about it. So that's as far as I can go to help you out. And yeah, that's about it. Unfortunately. Sorry. Let's say we're following client repo module that client API create lesson repo. We'll teach Go client module to grab the correctly configured API client from instead of calling the API directly. Interesting. Refactoring it to modify Huh. Okay. So I still have to replace. In practice, you'll have to ensure that during tests, the code you're testing uses the mock rather than the actual implementation. If the system under test relies on application configuration, you should set it before the test suite starts. Especially if you put your mock into the config application environment. Blech. Stop that. Okay. Okay. Well, now we know. So I have to inject in the client that we're going to be using. Do, 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 do. And then API client right there. So how will we restructure this? I guess it'd be similar to this. Or it'd be this. There we go. It's good at name did a hierarchy on this. So doing this is actually not that bad. Oh my god. My computer's running so slow. We'll teach GitHub client module to grab the correctly configured API. All right, I guess my computer's reaching the limit of what it's capable of doing. It is getting too hot. Too bothered. Oh wait, code spaces is reconnecting. Maybe it's just an internet issue. Uh-oh. Well, we got about 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes left until till the end of the stream. Let's see if we can try to get this refactoring done so that we're injecting in the dependency of our API client for our Twitch extension client. All right, let's see. Oh God, the computer's still slow. I think we're reaching the limit of what this computer, at the amount of time this computer can handle. I think we're reaching the limit. I think the computer's too hot. The computer is just too dang hot. Let's see. Can we get this to respond quick enough? No. It's too slow. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to be doing off stream is I'm going to be switching these references to extension to the API client. And then that should get this mock extension to work. And then by extension for that, all the other API endpoints, all the other APIs for Azure and for the Helix endpoint for Twitch, since I have those in their own modules where it's actually doing their requests, I can mock those out and I can inject those dynamically too. So luckily the design, the way I coded it, and the fact that I put the files, the actual requests into their own individual names, module scopes, turned out to be a great idea because I don't have to change all that much to do it. So I learned. I'm learning. All right. So we're just going to call it here since my computer is not. Ooh, is it fast enough? It might be fast enough now. Let's just try to do this real quick. So let's swap out extension. Let's see. Nope. Trying to go slow again. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What does it call here? It's too slow. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna swap out extension dot for the client API call dot, like in this implementation here. That. And call it from there. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for lurking and hanging out. I will catch you next Friday. So see you, everyone. Goodbye.